Aloha friends, this is Brendan reporting live from within the coronavirus pandemic 2020. Nonetheless, it's good to see your face too. I want to be able to make this video to be able to help spark some conversation, to be able to help plant some seeds, to be able to bring us together as community. Now, of course, we've all heard the news, we've all been keeping up to date with everything that's been unfolding, how it's affecting the body of the world and how it is affecting us individually. And as these events have been unfolding, I wanted to be able to use this opportunity to be able to share with you some of my own reflections. And within this period of time, as someone who is intentionally a conscious media creator, a leader within digital community, within the Paradigm Shift Central project and beyond, I've been reflecting on what is needed, what can I do? And one of the things that I want to be able to do is to be able to help invite us to reflect on asking the question of what story are we creating? What story do we want to create? Now, of course, there's the story of the mainstream media. But beyond that, what is our story? And this is where it gets into the idea of reflecting on it from the perspective of the coronavirus and consciousness. Now, this is something that, again, I think is incredibly interesting to be able to see from a variety of perspectives. There's a lot of people out there who are undeniably and understandably have feelings, all of which are valid and all of which are important, yet many of which are focused from the perspective of the root chakra. If we're just using that very, very loosely, again, kind of coming at it from that survival instinct. Oh, I need this, panic, fear, protection. That's understandable. We as a community need to be able to shift upwards and to begin seeing it from the places of our heart and even higher up, from our brow, from our crown, from our third eye, from our crown, that higher perspective, and really be able to think about how what is happening right now is a reflection of, once again, the microcosm and the macrocosm. Now, you're probably able to hear right now that my voice sounds a little bit different. And the reason for this is that coincidentally, synchronistically, as these recent events have been unfolding, I picked up a cold a few days ago or however long ago, and then it developed and it's literally just been sniffles and I'm pretty much over it. But as I was going through this myself, and I'm all good, like 100%, I'm all good. As I was going through this myself, I was reminded, and this was something I already knew, it's a fascinating idea to think about the idea that, again, what we observe as the symptoms of our cold is our body doing what it can to be able to process the virus and to be able to remove it from the system. And then ultimately, this is the important part, to be able to become even healthier in the process. It is in the process of purging and of removing that by the time we're done, we are literally in a quote unquote higher vibration. So every time that you get sick, now again, this is relatively speaking, assuming that you're already like well bodily, like, you know, healthy to begin with and everything like that. But by the time you move through like a regular cold and everything like that, you're actually healthier afterwards. Your body has developed more immunity, and even again, just like on an energetic level, it's kind of like this purging process and you feel clearer. And this is where, like, again, for me, going through just like my own experience as this was happening, I'm like, okay, like, what is my purpose? What is my duty? What is my destiny? What is needed? What can I do for community? And being here and making this video is one of the first steps to be able to invite us into a place of being able to just like see things from a higher perspective, inviting our entire nervous system to relax, and then being able to remind ourselves that in the same way the virus is contagious and the fear is contagious, so is love, so is kindness, so is calmness. It is a process of being able to invite us to co-regulate. It is the idea that if you're like having a stressed out day and you sit next to someone and they're calm, their calmness will actually help you calm down. And that is something that we need to be able to do, because, and this is, again, I'm just kind of like painting the picture here, when we're in that state of fear, we're not thinking logically, we're panic stricken, and this is where, again, we're seeing a lot of things that we're seeing and everything like that. So that's where I want to be able to invite us to think about this from the perspective of consciousness, from the higher perspective of is there a silver lining to this? And again, I'm not trying to dismiss any of the seriousness that is happening. Like 100%, like yes, like there are lives at risk here. This is life and death. But at the same time, this is also a call to awakening. As much as this can divide us, this can also unite us. This can bring us into more of our own purpose. And so those of us, especially like those of you who have been following me through Instagram, who have been a part of this journey, a part of this team, shifters, light guardians, those of us who spread positive messages, who show up for community, who do things like free hugs and just like helping people out. Now is the time, more than ever, for us to be able to step into what we can do. And that is what I want us to be able to reflect on, is what can we do? What is needed? And so at the very least, one of the great ways we can start is by being able to pay attention to what stories we are sharing. What story are we creating? Are we playing into the fear-based mentality, or are we playing into the response opposed to react? Now, this is the thing, and this is like, honestly, like, I've already seen this within like a little bit of the spiritual community without having to like name any specific names, but there's been some people and they're just like, I like, don't watch the news, don't pay attention. This is all just they're just trying to get you to be fearful and stuff like that. I think that's incredibly irresponsible. And so we need to be able to find the balance of making sure that we are informed and making sure that we are capable of responding intelligently without just being ignorant to the situation that is happening. And then at the same time, making sure that we are doing our part just in regular hygiene and everything like that. But more so than anything, as the situation continues to unfold, there's going to be things that are going to become more apparent in terms of just like what's evolving right now. And one of the things that's going to be incredibly important is us realizing our need for social interaction, for social connection. And so as a lot of people are going to be kind of like quarantining themselves and not out to regular events and everything like that, you're going to find a lot of people going pretty stir crazy inside their houses and things like that. So now, fortunately, us as community, we've been practicing showing up online. We've been practicing having these conversations. We've been practicing connecting. We've been practicing sharing positive messages. We've been practicing putting ourselves on camera and getting our voices out there and reminding people and giving them an alternative narrative for them to see themselves within. And so again, I invite you to reflect on what story do we want to create. Let's create the story where this is something that makes us stronger. In the same way that, again, as the body adapts a cold and it purges it, by the time it's done, it becomes stronger. It gets rid of what it no longer needed. And so, again, seeing this from the bigger picture, I want you to play with me here and to literally just believe me when I say that in X number of days, X number of weeks, it will be okay. Things will be different, but it will be okay. And we can actually invite ourselves to feel that right now. We can feel that right now if we give ourselves permission. And in doing so, let that vision of the future help guide us through this. Help guide us through it with calmness and clarity and grace. That is going to be incredibly important. And again, let us see this as an opportunity to turn inwards, to sit with our fears, to sit with what this means with us, to reflect on what is incredibly important to us. And I think that's what's going to happen here within this story. Now, I don't know about you, but honestly, within the past few days, a lot of what's been happening for me has felt very deja vu-ish. Meaning there's a sense within my soul of like, okay, this is familiar. Have I been here before? And again, when you kind of get to that 5D higher conscious perspective, the answer is yes. Time does not flow forward in the way we think it does. This is a whole another conversation in itself. But again, the future already exists, and what we are experiencing is the ripples of that moving through what we recognize as the present. And so what if, in the same way, if I were to say, oh, you're going to have a regular common cold, but by the time you're done, you're going to purge your system and you're going to feel healthier. By the time you move through the process, all you have to do is relax, take care of yourself, get some rest, focus on loving yourself, and just slow down. And so this is where we as a community, we as a collective, this is literally like the earth getting a cold because it has a virus. And that virus isn't just the coronavirus. That virus is like psychological, emotional, energetic. It is our behavior. It is the way we treat each other. It is the greed that we have in our connection to materialism. So let this be an invitation to turn inwards and to reflect on what are the things that are actually really important to us. Family, community, our health, connecting with nature, being able to create meaningful memories. So where we are right now is incredibly interesting and incredibly challenging, incredibly testing. And what I want to be able to invite us to do is that instead of just resisting, is to be able to invite ourselves to relax and to surrender to the process. And again, that I'm not saying like just give up the fight. No, surrender to the grace within your heart that will guide you through this experience in whatever way is needed, and connect with that vision of the future of knowing it will be okay, and let that guide you. Let that be like a rope that you're pulling on that is moving you through the present moment, and let that be an inspiration for you to be able to jump on, again, to align with the narrative that I'm inviting us to reflect on, because this is, again, what is needed. We need a powerful narrative. We need an empowering narrative. And this is something I've talked about before, but again, if you're seeing something within life and you're seeing it from a quote unquote disempowering perspective, that just means that you're seeing it from the wrong way. Now, again, I'm not trying to invalidate anybody's feelings, because the fear is real. It's a real emotion. But again, it is also a choice. And so if we can instead ask ourselves, how can we see this from an empowering perspective? How can this invite us into our courage? How can this invite us into more of our heart space? How can this invite us to show up as community? How can this invite us to be more aware of the needs around us? And so the other things that I have not seen this talked about yet, and this is where it gets actually quite interesting. And I hope that, again, by me making this video, I want you to just be able to give yourself that permission to just be able to be like, okay, like there's layers to this, right? And the mainstream media is just one layer. So if you're focusing on that layer, like you can live there if you want, but there's other layers to this story. And from that higher dimensional layer, I think it's fascinating. This was the thing that caught my attention right away, that this is called the literal coronavirus. Now, what does that mean? What does the word corona mean? A lot of us, maybe we haven't really thought about that. They're like, oh, it's an alcoholic beverage. But at the same time, we're like, no, there's something else to it. Corona literally refers to the light around a body of light. It is when you see a sun and there's like a sun ring, that is a corona. When you see the moon and there is a ring around it, that is a corona. And so when you think about this, this is where it gets deep and super fascinating, but also super enlightening. The idea that this is a coronavirus, we are a body of light. Our corona is the energetic field around us. It is the aura. It is the emotions. It is the psyche. It is the mind. It is the vibrations we are putting out. And so let us be aware that this virus is here to be able to attack and test our energetic field. It is designed to strike and to like plug fear into our aura. And so what can we do by being aware that this is actually like what is happening? Because again, like I don't think like there's like, I'm not getting into conspiracy stuff here. You don't need to get into conspiracy stuff here. Bring it back to the heart space, bring it back to your reality, but at the very least, be aware of how is this virus showing up within your corona, within your aura, within your emotional field, your energetic field. And how can we, this is the empowering part, how can we strengthen our own corona to be able to empower and strengthen others? Are you starting to get it now? because we've all heard this before. This is something we've been talking about this for the past decade in relation to things that I've been doing through Paradigm Shift and you've been doing and all of that. We know that love is a vibration, and love can literally transmute fear. And that is what we need to do. People's coronas, their auras, are infected with the virus of fear. How do we get rid of that virus? By transmuting it with love. And how do we show that love? By adopting a new narrative that is not rooted in fear. It is aware of the fear and it honors the fear. And this is another key part. It acknowledges the fear as a teacher. So without having to fight the fear, how can we actually sit with the fear? And I invite you to do this. Sit with your fear related to this story. What does it mean to you? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of how the world will change? Are you afraid of your own health? Are you afraid of your family? Good. Because fear is actually love in disguise. If you are fearful of something, then that means there is something meaningful to you that you are afraid of losing, that is afraid of being changed. Now, assuming that fear isn't just fear of losing something materialistic, which it can be, instead, reflect on the idea of, oh, I'm afraid of my friends and family getting hurt because I love them. So I invite you to begin transmuting your own fear. And if you are fearful, that is because you are a loving being by nature. I want you to just tell yourself that it's okay for you to be fearful. It's okay for you to be aware of your fear. It's okay for you to sit with your fear and ask your fear, what are you teaching me? What are you showing me? How are you showing me more of the love within my heart? And then to begin transmuting it inside yourself. Go into your own meditation. Adopt a new narrative. Align with the story that I'm inviting us to be able to create, where we can show up as community, as responsible members of society, as cosmic citizens, and to begin transmuting the fear. Let's do it through social media. Let's do it by sharing videos like this. Let's do it through conversation. And so if you've watched this video up to this point, I want to actually be able to invite you to tune into the ongoing conversation that we will be having through the Paradigm Shift Central community this coming Wednesday, which is March, what date are we on? March 17th? I may be wrong. I didn't check my calendar for this. 16th or 17th on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, ParadigmShiftCentral.com. Join us for a discussion about the coronavirus and consciousness. I want to go deeper with this together. I want to hear what you're feeling. I want to hear your thoughts. We can talk about all sorts of things. We can talk about how to respond, how to change the narrative. We can talk about how to inform ourselves with all the information out there. But again, I want you to invite yourself to know that whatever happens, this is the best thing to happen. Everything that is happening within this reality is the best thing for this reality to evolve our consciousness. That does not mean it will always be fun. That does not mean it will always be easy. That does not mean it will always be comfortable. But I hope, and I know that within my heart, that as we move through this together and we show up to the challenge and we rise in love, that we will come out stronger on the other side. And we will come out more connected to our heart, more connected as family. We will appreciate the little things, appreciate nature, appreciate the sun, appreciate our health, appreciate the ability to wake up in each and every single day and to tell your friends that you love them. That is the gift. This life is a gift. So, sending so much love your way. Just encoding your corona with love simply by watching this video. Thank you so much for being a part of this story. Let's start putting up posts through social media. Let's send our messages to our friends. Let's tell them that we love them. Let's do what we got to do to take care of our own health, boost our immune system, go out, get some sunlight, get some fresh air, get some sleep, rest, drink water, take care of yourself, do what you got to do, and we'll get through this together. We will. We will get through this together, and we will be stronger because of it. Every great challenge is just training for the next one, and this will propel us into great heights, I assure you. So let's show up. Let's see it from that higher perspective. And let's really just move ourselves into the awareness of our heart, shift up, honor the roots, move into our hearts, and begin seeing it from the higher conscious perspective of how this too is a very important part within the story of the body of Earth. And we are a microcosm of that macrocosm. So, thank you so much for watching this video, and I just wish you an amazing day. And I hope that just by watching this video, you already just begin to feel a little bit more hopeful, a little bit more optimistic, a little bit more inspired to do what you can. And yeah, be aware of where you're putting your focus, and let's start turning our focus both inwards and on each other as community, and really start collectively co-creating this very important narrative of this being something that is going to bring us together and connect us back to who we are beyond the materialism, beyond the media, who we are within our heart, who we are as spiritual beings, and how we can show up for one another as community. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing your love. Remember, within our darkest nights, we learn to shine our brightest lights. This is Brendan. I love you. I see you. I honor you. Keep it shifty. Let's go, team. See you in the future.